Hello YouTube, this is Team Valhalla with Odin's deck profile of Evilswarms. You ready to go, man?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Alright, whenever you're ready.
Alright, so you first start off with the basics. One of the main cards in the deck. Everybody loves the rabbit.
Hell yeah.
You run the rabbit. Rabbit does everything for you. I mean, it changes games. Main deck, one Tsukiyomi.
Why are you running Tsukiyomi?
I run Tsukiyomi just kind of as like a trolley card. You just summon it. If they have an Ophion face down, even if so, you just run Mirror Match. You can run over it with a lot of different things. You don't have to summon a lot of big things. Even if someone has like a Draco Sack on the field, anything like that, it's a good thing, and it's an easy to side out too. So you know that if you're playing against something that you can't really grind against, you just want to switch this out, go into something else. Switch it for like Maxis, Electric Viruses, go for Eradicators, anything like that. Then you got the 3 Heliotropes, which are pretty regular.
Best normal monsters in the game.
3 Mandragora. A lot of people run 2. I like running 3 just because it's good when you have a couple in hand. You know, if you're facing dragons or anything like that and you can't get that Ophion out, you know, you have the Mandragora. It's a special summon even if you're playing against Prophecies. You have a lot of things and it goes for a lot of quick exceeds. Again, 2, it's an easy thing to side out if you want to go down to 2, down to 1. You know, usually if I'm siding out, I'll only go down, take 1 out at least. You got the 3 Casters, which are pretty standard. The 3 Thunderbirds. A lot of people question about the Thunderbirds too, because I do like the 2 Thunderbird and the 2 Mandragora to try and make room for like lances and everything like that. But I like him just because he's a good stall card. You know, you can activate anything and set yourself up for play, so that way you always have a monster on the field. And that way, if you're kind of a slow game and you have the Thunderbird on the field, you can just go and make anything and just have it there. And it's 1950, so it gets over the Thunder Kings, gets over anything like that. I mean, not a lot of people in this format are playing Thunder Kings, but even if so, you know, even just those rogue decks, it's just kind of fun to have against. 3 Kirkians, just because he's broken. I mean, you get to banish. If you have an Ophion in graveyard, you just banish him and just summon him out, and everybody knows what he does, and he's just standard, he's just used. I mean, these are all the monsters that I run. So on the spell cards, you got the Monster Reborn, the Heavy Storm, and the Dark Hole.
Basic staples.
Yeah, for a while I wasn't running the Heavy Storm and the Dark Hole, just because a lot of people weren't doing the Heavy. But at our locals, there's a lot of Evilswarm players, so I go against a lot of mirror matches. So the Heavy Storm's really good. I mean, when you're playing this deck, you're not too worried about the Dark Hole. So, I mean, even if so, you can just kind of play the Dark Hole and just chain the Infestation to it, and you're kind of set. So you don't really worry about the Dark Hole. I mean, if you're doing a mirror match, it's just a good way to bait out the opponent's one, so that way you kind of have a one-up over them. And it's a good way to at least kind of try and control the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got the Rhoda, do that for the caster play. Got 2 MSTs for back row. Again, 2, it's an easy side out. If you're going against a lot of decks now, you don't really need these, because these go a lot of times for EEVs, and I mean, it's just a good thing to do like that. I run 2 dresses again, so it can't be targeted, anything like that. It's a good too if you're facing against any bigger monsters. You have it set, just go during damage step, do the dress, or even if you have it in hand, you're going to go attack against a bigger monster, especially if they have, if you get an Ophion on the field and they have anything bigger than it, usually it's not more than a 600 attack point difference, so the dress is really good. One thing that I run that a lot of people don't mainboard is I do 2 Chalices. Veiler I don't think is good this format, and I mean a lot of people have been kind of saying the same thing where they don't think Veiler is necessarily the best this format. Again, that's all opinion, but I've tried it with Veilers and I've tried it with Chalices, and I like the Chalices better, especially because of the 400 attack boost. So I mean, even just for stupid things to just get over a lot of different things, even if you have, like a Thunderbird on the field and someone goes to attack into it and you don't have anything, a Chalice is a good play, and it's just a nice top deck. Again, too, it's an easy thing to side out. This deck is really easy to have things to side out against because you have a whole bunch of things to back it up. You know, if you're playing against anything and you can just go heavy back row, you just want to take these out and just put anything in. It's a very situational card for siding out and everything like that, but it ends up being really good at the end of the day.
Now, why did you choose Chalice and Dress over using Lances?
It's just more of a preference thing with the dresses, especially because I run 3 Pandemics, so I really don't feel like I need Lances. You know, I feel like that if I ran 2 Pandemics and no Chalices, I'd run Lances in it and probably throw something else in its place. But I mean, as it stands, the 2 Chalices, the 2 Dress, and the 3 Pandemic really work out for me, and I've been doing decently well with it. I've just been testing it a lot. I've tried breakthroughs, I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and so far this is the deck build that I like the most.
Alright.
I want to run Eradicator Epidemic Virus. It's really good, and everybody knows it's very good, and especially in this deck where you can just bounce back. I mean, even when you have like the Infestation Infection out, you have the Ophion in hand, and you have, let's say, Mandragora, and it's just crap. You do the EEV against anything. Like the other day played somebody, and I was playing a mirror match, and they had 5 back row set, and I summoned an Ophion. They go chain bottomless. I just chain Eradicator, and it's just gone, and their entire back row was gone. And he was top decking. He top decking to 3 traps, and I just won the game. I just kept slapping him, and it just went. I mean, with the infection, it's just good because if you have anything dead in your hand, any dead evil swarms, it's just good to have. I mean, even if you have a Mandragora in hand, in just game 1, you just activate this and you just swap it out for a Kirkian, and you just have it. I mean, at that point, you just have plays and you just be able to go.
Now back to the Eradicator. Have you thought about running the other one?
What, Deck Devastation Virus?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of small monsters that I'm too worried about. I mean, Deck Devastation's good when you're playing against dragons, but I mean, if you draw even a decent first hand, you're going to have a first turn Ophion on the field, and you're not going to worry about the babies. I mean, unless they have a Blaster in hand, but I mean, if you see the Blaster pitch, you just go Dress, and he can't be targeted, and he can't be destroyed. So, you have your protection against it. And for a while, I was running Safe Zones too. I got rid of my safe zones, unfortunately, but I mean, even if they go target Ophion, chain safe zone to it, and that's something that I've been trying to put back into the deck. I just can't find any. I have 1 right now, and I'm trying to find 1 more. And when I find those, I'll probably throw safe zones back into the deck. So you got 2 bottomlesses, 2 compulse, 2 TT, and 2 mirror force for kind of like your bigger traps. Mirror force is kind of standard in this deck. I think compulse is a good play, especially like even against something like Constellars. You just go and you just compulse their Pallades if you have nothing on the field and anything like that. I mean, he's a compulse himself, so it's kind of good just to have something to fight back with. And it's just good overall. I just think that a lot of people don't play it, and I think more people should. The TTs have been kind of a questionable call. A lot of people, say, well, why do you run TTs? And it's like, because I have Pandemic, because I have Dress. That's why. Because if I have 1 monster on the field and you have 4, I just TT, and with how many people aren't playing background now these days, you just chain Pandemic or you just chain Dress, and you have a free swing in. And then the bottomlesses again is just kind of standard. It's just good. There's so many big monsters now and everything like that, especially against even the mirror match. Bottomless set. They first turned Rabbit like their first turn. The bottomless set. Both of them are gone, and they're probably stuck for a little while. So now let's move on to my extra deck. Got my Lugia and Ho-Oh and Size, my tokens. I have nothing that needs the tokens for, but they're just kind of there for moral support. So I got a Dweller. Dweller's really good overall. Again, too, with Nationals being over and everything like that, this deck's more built for kind of like a locals and everything like that. If I was going to, like a YCS or regional or anything like that, deck profile would be a little bit different because you'd have to worry about the dragons a little more, and you have to worry about spell books a little bit more. But my deck, or my locals, is usually a lot of no spellcaster players. There's a lot of water players there. There's a lot of Gravekeeper players there, which is kind of funny, and there's a lot of mirror matches. So, on a good tournament day, I probably go against, like 3 mirror matches. I probably have like 2 water matches, maybe 1 dragon, maybe 1 spellbook, and that's just kind of how it is. So I think Dweller is just a good card. He's just kind of a good thing, and I have decent space to move around, and I can switch a lot of things. Popple Operative. Popple Operative is just good. He's a rank 4 staple. Diagusto Emerald. I like him just because, if I have a Heliotrope in there, I just special summon him, so I have an 1800 and a 1950 beater on the field. He's also good, too, because I've had a lot of cases where I'll have 3 Heliotropes and I'll top deck into a Rabbit and I'll have an Emerald on the field. So I just shuffle the 3 Heliotropes back into the grave and just go into Rabbit and just get it again. So, I mean, it's very situational that kind of way, but it's a good way to get the Heliotropes back into your graveyard so that way you have another Rabbit play.
Would you ever consider running 2 of them?
No, because at 2 of them it gets too cloggy. There's a lot of things in here that I think are not necessarily tech, but not a lot of things that other people would necessarily run. I guess that's the definition of a tech, but it just kind of, just 2, I played it at 2 and it doesn't work very well. Alright. Got the Maestroke. He's just good for grind plays. Even if someone has something bigger than you, flip down and everything like that. I'm just a fan of that, especially, with the Tsukiyomi main deck and everything like that. I like flipping other people's stuff down. It pisses them off, and it gives me good opportunities and everything like that. Gaga Cowboy, he's just a lifesaver. You know, they have 800 life points left, 200 life points left, whatever. You just go into the Cowboy, and you can always go into Cowboy. You know, this deck is made to just spit out level 4s, and I mean, you know, you can't necessarily spam them in OTK every time and everything like that, but, you know, there's ways to do it, and the Cowboy just makes it easier. You know, you go to a swing with all the big monsters. They have 400 left, overlay, and you're good to go. Black Ship Corn, just get rid of some pesky cards, especially with the dress and everything like that. You know, he's just good to be able to tackle over things and everything like that. He's 2100, so it's not bad. Definitely good to send a lot of pesky things away too, and just kind of just throw them off the field. Even against like battle and boxers and everything like that too. Like I've used Corn a couple times, and Corn just does really well against some of their monsters. Gets rid of like the glass jaws and everything like that. If I want to go into Exceed and, you know, still just kind of want to have something there and just kind of burn them a little bit. I don't want to stall more than anything. I run Nightmare. A lot of people don't run Nightmare, but again, as I said, I just like flipping stuff face down. I mean, if you guys want to take a closer look at it and everything like that, when anything's special summon, you just attach one. He's just a Book of Moon. You know, he's a constant Book of Moon. He's 1950 defense. So I mean, even against a mirror match or anything like that, if they go Rabbit and you have this set, you just flip them face down and you're good to go. I run Thantos too. For a while, there's a lot of Fire Fist players where we played. So Thantos was always good. You know, it'd stall out the bears and everything like that. Double Bahamut. Double Bahamut's good. Mirror match, good against dragons. You know, I played one time. Excuse me. Played one time where I went Bahamut, and they had a Draco Sack and a big guy on the field with no tokens. And so I went Bahamut, stole the big guy, and used the big guy to steal the Draco Sack, and just went in with the Bahamut and the Draco Sack for game.
Have you thought about just going down to 1? I mean, it's a good card and everything, but the effect of still having to ditch an Evilswarm, wouldn't that kind of minus you as well?
I mean, yeah, it really does sometimes. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, damn, why did I throw that away? But usually I only go him in confidence. You know, he's more of a game-winning type of thing. I mean, especially in the mirror match. If they go first turn Ophion and they're not necessarily good players, you just summon the Bahamut, you steal their Ophion, use their Ophion's effect and everything like that. And I mean, so now you have a Bahamut and an Ophion who can be protected by that pandemic that you just searched out. It's more of just kind of like, I've seen a lot of more players do everything recently and stuff like that, and I've always done 2 Bahamut since day 1, and it's just always helped. You have the 3 Ophion, which is standard. I run 1 Ouroboros. I've been seeing a lot of Evilswarm players not use Ouroboros and use a lot of other random things. Like I've seen a couple decks that run 2 Gaga Cowboys or 2 Maelstrokes or an extra Black Ship or even anything random. And I like Ouroboros just because he's trolly. You know, I mean, it's not necessarily the first thing that you'd go for, but I mean, if I have 3 level 4s on the field and everything like that, I just summon him out after if I've swung with him and everything like that. Even if they have anything pesky on the field, just bounce it. It's just a fun thing to do. And then 1 Shockmaster, and the Shockmaster is a Shockmaster. I mean, everybody knows what Shockmaster does. Shockmaster is always good. I mean, if you can find a way to spit him out, you know, second turn or anything like that, you usually have game. I mean, it's really easy, especially with the infestation, or the infection and the Kirkian plays with a caster. You just have that Shockmaster out on the field and you're good to go. I mean, it's easy to get him out nowadays, especially with the newer packs release and everything like that. And now we have side deck. 2 Electric Viruses, mirror match against dragons. I think it's pretty standard. Some people don't run it, but that's just me. Maxis. My favorite thing, Neospatian Grand Mole. I was looking around online and I saw, I think it was someone who got top 2 or won a nationals overseas, put Grand Mole in it, and I kind of saw it and I was like, wow, that's really funny. And he's just really good, and he's just against those pesky plays, even against rogue decks. Nobody expects a Grand Mole side into, and you just go and you just bounce it. I mean, you always have him back in your hand 9 out of 10 times. It's really hard to get rid of him sometimes, and just people just hate it. And it's just a good way to just kind of just, you know, swing at your opponent without really having to worry about too much. 2D Fissures. 2D Fissures are just kind of standard. It just gets a lot of things banished, gets rid of a lot of stupid things. And a lot of times it makes your opponent think more. So the D-Fissures just kind of just make it easier on you, I think. And it doesn't really hurt you as much. So.
Have you thought about running macros instead of the D-Fissures?
Yeah, but I like it. I like the D-Fishers better than Macro, only because if I have Ophion on the field, you know, my Exceeds materials go into the graveyard, and that's exactly what I'm going to use when I have Kirkian back on the field. I've tried Macro and I've tried D-Fisher, but I think D-Fisher in the long haul is a better card. In this format anyways, for this deck. I have 2 breakthroughs. These aren't supposed to be breakthroughs, they're supposed to be EEVs. I can't find mine. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if I lost them or if I accidentally traded them. But these are just kind of here as placeholders. When I find my EEVs, these are going to become those. But these are just kind of here for the hell of it. A lot of times, you know, if I'm going against, you know, anything, I'll just take the chalices out and throw these in just kind of for fun, just to see what I like better, you know, because I switch between main decking these and main decking chalices, and more likely than not I've been going with the chalices, but sometimes these are just really good. But these are supposed to be electric viruses, or eradicator epidemic viruses. 2 soul drains. We have a lot of people, like when Dragons first came out, who played Dragons, and I was talking to them and everything like that, and they said that the one card that hurts them the most, or one of the most besides the next 2 cards I'm about to show you, is Soul Drain, just because a lot of the combos don't work very well and everything like that, and it just goes well. I just think Soul Drain's overall a good card. Then I have 2 Vanity's Emptiness and 2 Imperial Iron Walls, and they're both just answers to Dragons. I mean, just it gets a way to secure your point and everything like that. I mean, the Iron Walls are more for Dragons than anything, but the Vanity's Emptiness, I mean, even the guy who won Nats, he main decked Vanity's Emptiness, and he just played that card amazingly. And I mean, I commemorate him for it. I don't know him personally, and I've seen a couple of the matches, just like on videotapes and everything like that, and he just did really well with them. And I mean, you know, a lot of people just side deck it, and I've side decked it for a little while, and I just think it's an overall good card. And I think as long as you play it correctly, there's no minus to this card. You know, if you set yourself up with a big field and they go do something, you can make them go negative just by playing Vanity's Emptiness, you know. And that's it, guys. And this is my Evilswarm deck profile.
Alright, well, thank you very much, Odin, for that lovely deck profile. Stay tuned, guys. We'll have plenty of other deck profiles. Please like and subscribe.